Hello everyone and welcome to the Matplotlib tutorial. In this tutorial you're gonna learn how to visualize any data you want. And let's start with a very simple plot with title, legend and labels. And first of all we need to import matplotlib.pyplot as plt and numpy as np. Why do I need numpy? I just want to create the array from 0 to 1 with the step 1/10. You see the array created with the arrange method. Each value in this array is 1/10 greater than the previous one. Note that this method does not include the endpoint, so the last value here is 0.9. In this case, we can either define the second parameter in the arrange method as 1.1, or we can use a linspace method setting start point, end point, and the number of points we want to receive. If we need numbers from 1 to 10 with 0, it means that we're gonna have 11 values. And that's why I pass 11 as third parameter. And you see the difference. You can choose any method you want. I personally gonna use the arrange method. As you know from school math, we need some x values to make a graph. So let's create the array using one of these two methods. From 0 to 10 with the step 0.1. Okay, I want to show a simple line, so y is gonna be equal to x, right? plt.plot x and y. And here y is a function, y of x or f of x. Okay, good, we got the line. And if you're not using the Jupyter notebook, you should tell Matplotlib to show this picture. plt.show empty parameters. Let's plot a quadratic function, so y is gonna be equal to x squared. Okay, but can we show these two functions on one graph? Yes, we can. The first function is going to be equal to x, then we use the same x values, and the second function, x squared, is going to be defined as y squared. Okay, it is very useful if we need to compare them, but there is another way of showing several functions on one graph. We just need to call plt.plot twice, for the first function and for the second function. And we're gonna use the same list of x values. The first function is gonna be sine and p.sine of x, and the second one, right, cosine. Run the cell. We got the graph with two functions, and let's add two labels for the y-axis and x-axis. It's very simple, we just need to call plt.xLabel to define xLabel text and plt.ylabel for the y-axis and plt.title for the title. Simple plot. Great, but it would be much better if we defined that sine is blue. For this purpose we need to use legend. plt.legend empty parameters, and we have to define the name of each function. The first label equals to sine of x, and the second one is cosine of x. Yeah, that's much better. We have legend, title, and labels. Let's try to do the same using plt.plot once. X, sine of x, x again, and cosine. Now we need to add legend. plt.legend. And here we have to use the list. The first value is sine of x, it's a string, and the second one also a string, cosine of x. Well, actually you can type whatever you want. But don't try to define this list inside the plot function, as it will be doubled. It will be used as legend for sine and as legend for cosine. Just like this. So it's not a good solution. I'm gonna bring it back. And let's change the width. Line width equals to 5. It can be useful sometimes. And as you see, we have default colors. Let me show you how to change it. I'm gonna use the same code. If I want a sign to be black, I should use K letter. And cosine is gonna be blue, so I have to type B. And let's change colors to red and green. You may have seen markers on the graph, and sometimes it's a really good idea. Let's add some markers. I can just place a marker near the color. And as you see, we have red triangles instead of simple line, and the legend is also changed. You should use minus minus to get a dashed line. And again we changed the legend. And let's change triangles to thin diamonds, letter D, and dashed line to circles, letter O. And you see the result. And the last pair of markers I want to show you are triangle left and triangle right. Okay, good. You can check out the full list of markers on the Matplotlib website. Here is the website. You have to find API overview Matplotlib markers. And you can choose anything you want. Star, plus, or square. By the way, we can adjust its size. So let's define marker size equals to 8. Okay, markers became bigger. And now it's time to talk about subplots. Subplot allows us to show different graphs on one picture. We have to call plt.subplot. How does it work? You have to define the number of rows, the number of columns, and the plot number. And let's create two subplots, 1, 2, 1, and 1, 2, 2. It means when we have 1 row, 2 columns, and 2 subplots, 2 graphs. And let's plot some functions here. And the first function is going to be an exponent. We still are using x, numpy.exponent of x, and the second function is cubic function. They are pretty much similar in shape, that's why I've chosen them. And now let's plot our trig functions, but in this case I'm gonna use 2 rows and 1 column. plt.subplot 2, 1, and 1. Then the second one, plt.subplot 2, 1, and 2. Then we need to define functions plt.plot x numpy sine of x label equals to sine of x. And let's add x label. plt.x label x and plt y label y. plt.title plot 1 and enable legend plt.legend empty parameters. And the second function is cosine of x, plt.plot x numpy cosine of x, and let's define color as red, and label is cosine of x. I'm gonna copy these lines. x2, y2, plot 2. And here I'm gonna leave a comment that this is the second plot. Okay, good, but the picture is small. we can change its size using plt.figure. And we have to define fixed size as a parameter. Great, we got two graphs on one figure. But as you see, there is a small space between these two graphs. To fix this, we can call plt.tightLayout with empty parameters. And the last thing I want to show you is how to save this picture. First of all, we need to define figure, and then we need to call fig, save fig, and the name of the figure, fig.png. The picture is saved in the current folder. And let's try to show this picture. From ipython.display, import image, and the name of our picture, fig.png. Okay, we did it. Now we can plot very simple graphs. And thank you guys for watching this video. See you in the next lesson.